Welcome back, fifth graders. We're on part 3 of lesson 6 in our Unit 5 Geometry Volume unit. So this is the work that we finished in part 2. And if you have any questions, remember, come to our open work time from 2:30 to 3:30 every day. You just click on the link in the box of the Google Classroom homepage. It's right up there at the top. All right, so now we're going to go to part 3, and we're looking at different structures, and we're doing some problem solving work. So this is going to take us some time, some perseverance, and we're going to work really hard to do our very best. All right, so we have a sculpture. It says pictured below, so that's this guy. And it's made up of 2 sizes of rectangular prism. So this is kind of big. There's only 2 sizes. So right here, that tells me that this guy, these 2 guys are probably, the 2 different sizes. But I'm going to have to say this, and this are all the same size. So when I go to make my boxes, I'm going to have an A and a B because there's only 2 sizes. So that's kind of huge. So when I make my workspace, I'm going to make workspace for A and workspace for B. Now, that's not all we have to do, but that's a huge hint right there. So right now, I want you to pause it, and I want to see if you can solve this by yourself. I'm going to give you another pause moment too, but just pause it, just get a piece of paper and just see what can you do with the information. Now, you need to finish reading this information in order to solve it, but I want you to try. And then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to keep going, but you can, I'm going to give you another pause spot too. So pause it, try it out, and then check your answers. So welcome back. If you paused it and you tried it out, good for you. One of the sides measures 13 by 8 by 2. The other size measures, and I probably put that in the wrong color, but that's okay, 9 by 8 by 18. Okay, so I can see that there are 2 box A's. So this I'm going to be multiplying by 2. And I can count for B. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of those guys. So I'm going to be multiplying by 6. So does it matter which one you decide is this measurement and which one you decide is this measurement? I'll tell you yes, because one of these guys you're multiplying by 2 and one of them you're multiplying by 6. So we kind of need to figure out which one that is. So I'm going to look at these guys and I see they both have like a 13 and an 18. They both have an 8 in there, but this guy has a 9 and this guy has a 2. So I'm going to kind of think about, well, one of these sculptures is only 2 inches something. And I'm going to guess that that's probably this guy versus this guy because he looks a lot bigger. So I'm going to say that this guy's measurements is this first, excuse me, this first one right here. So I'm going to put a B up here. Now, once I do that, if that's B, then this has to be A over here. I really don't have to sweat anything else on here. I kind of used my structure as much as I need to find all my information. So once again, I want you to pause it. I want you to see if you can solve this problem and come back and check in. So pause. Welcome back. All right, so I said that A is the 9 by 8 by 18. And I said that B was the 13 by, 8 by 2. So I'm going to do 9 times 8, which is 72. And I'm going to do 72 times 18. And yes, I am totally cheating with the calculator because that's a lot. 1,296. What's my measurement? What am my units are inches. So this is inches cubed. So I'm going to check my math one more time. I'm going to multiply 9 times 8 times 18. Make sure that's right again. We look all good. But remember, there's 2 of these. So I'm going to just, so I don't forget, 1, 2, 9, 6, and I'm going to add them together right now so I don't forget. So that gives 6 plus 6 is 12, 18, 19, 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5, and 2. So for both A's, you've got equals 2,592 meters cubed. All right, so now we're going to go to B, and I'm going to say 8 times 2 is 16. So I'm going to do 16 times 13, which is 208. But this guy, oh, I did the wrong color over here. Sorry, guys. I hope that doesn't mess you up too much. There are 6 little B's, 6 of them suckers. So we need to multiply 208 by 6. Now, you should probably practice that one so you can keep your skills sharp. So 6 times 8 is 48. Put that little carry that 4, but that turns that to a 0. So I drop my 4 here. And then we have 2 times 6 is 12. So I have found A and I multiplied it by 2 or added it together. I found B and I multiplied it by 6. They want to know the total volume of this sculpture. So what do I have to do? Did you say add those 2 up? You are right. So I'm going to probably do my work over here. I'm going to say 2,592 plus 1,248. And I'm writing on my table. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for that. That's 10, 9, 13, 14, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3,000. So the total, and remember, complete sentences, the total volume is 3,840, and we're in inches cubed. And look, I remembered that too. All right, so that is the answer to number 2. I wonder how you did by yourself. Okay, so now we're going to come to number 3, a combined volume of 2 identical cubes. Identical is a fancy word for the same. So I have 2 cubes. And I'm just going to draw them next to each other because I'm not very good at drawing them on top of each other. That's not my forte. So together, the volume equals 128 cubic centimeters. What's the length of each? What's the side length of each cube? Wow, pen fest here. So that means I've got to figure out that. So this is a great time to pause. Pause, get your paper out, and see what would you do to solve this. And then come back and check in. All right, so pause. Welcome back. All right, so if these 2 are the same, and that I know I had to add this plus this to get this. So right off the bat, I think I'm going to split this in half so that I can separate these guys out. So if I divide 128 by 2, I'm going to get 64. So I know that this guy is 64 centimeters cubed, and this guy is 64 centimeters cubed. Now I know that there's one measurement that I multiplied times itself 3 times to get 64. Oh, I'm so bad at this. So I did something times something times something equals 64. So I didn't bring my teacher book to find the answer, so I'm going to have to guess. So I'm going to say, well, it's probably not 8 because 8's a little big. So I wonder what I'm going to start guessing. So I'm going to say, what happens if I do 4 times 4 times 4? I'm brilliant. Just wanted you to know that, people. Okay, it is 4. Because if I do 4 times 4, that's 16, and 16 times 4 happens to be 64. So I just found out that the volume of 1 is 64, and it's a cube because it tells me it's a cube. That means all the sides are the same. And if they're all the same, that means when I go to multiply, they have to have the same number in each one. So 4 times, it's 64. So the side length is 64, and this is just centimeters because we only had one length. Ooh, I'm kind of impressed with myself. All right, let's go to our rectangle number 4. We have a rectangular base with an area of 24 centimeters, and this says square. This is a 2 because the area, remember, is just length times width. And we know that the base is 24. So this guy, the area, so length times width equals 24 centimeters cubed. And they fill it with water to a depth of 9 centimeters. Depth is the same as a fancy word for height. You kind of have to know that. The oil and water separate into 2 layers when the oil rises on top. We've all seen that. That looks really cool. We should try that. If the thickness of the oil layer is 4 centimeters, what is the volume of the water? So they're saying that this part is oil. And they're saying that the total depth of both, so oil plus water, equals that. This is the depth, remember the height, and that is 9 centimeters. Well, they told us that the oil is 4 centimeters. So if the whole thing is 9, I've got to figure out, well, 4 plus what equals 9? Did you get it? That's 5 centimeters. I already know my length times width because that's the area, the base. So all I have to do now is multiply my 24 times 5 because they want to know the volume of the water. So I'm going to do 24 times 5, which is 120. So 120, and this is volume, so we've got it's all 3. So because we've got this squared, the 24 squared plus the 5, which is centimeters cubed. How'd you do? Did you get that by yourself before we went into it? I sure hope so. All right. Final problem, number 5. We have 2 rectangular prisms that have a combined volume of 432 cubic feet. Okay. Oh, God, this looks like... Here we go. They're not the same. In problem 3, we had combined volume here, but the shapes were the same. So we have combined volume again, but they're not saying they're the same. So we know the combined volume is 432, and there's a shape A, and we have a shape B. It says shape A has half the volume of prism B. Okay, so what's the volume of prism A or prism B? So what's half of B? So together they have to equal that. And if well, pause it. See what you guys can come up with for a minute. Welcome back. Okay, I don't have my cheat sheet, so I got to figure this out. So I'm going to start with half of this. This is where we need Brian. Okay, half of 432 is 216. but they're not the same amount. So if I break this up into 2, then they would be the same, and that's not what happened. So we have prism A is half of prism B. So I wonder if I could break this in half and give it to that guy and see if that works. So I'm going to try that again, in half again. So 216 divided by 2 is 108. So what if you're 108, and then I'm going to take that 108 and I'm going to add, so now instead of 216, I've got 108 and 108. So I broke that up. So if I add that up, I've got plus 216, we have 324. So what I need is I need this to be half of that, and I don't think that's the case. Nope. Well, I could sit here with this video and we could really hash it out for a really long time, or we're going to make this a challenge problem. So you guys get extra credit when you finish that out. Now I am going to finish this afterwards, but I don't have it right now. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to let you guys use that as an extra credit problem if you would like. And we worked through 3 other word problems of composite figures. You're going to see work like this in your homework, and I hope this helps. Remember, if you are still stuck, please come to our open work hours through Google Meet from 2:30 to 3:30. I look forward to seeing you guys, and good luck and work hard. Bye.